Hi there. In this lecture, we're going to talk about chord progressions. So in the last lecture, we talked about the major triad. Okay, so in this lecture, I want to take it a step further, and I want to explain chord progressions. Now, there are many different chord progressions. Okay, I'm just showing you the very basic chord progression that we could do, and that is 1, 4, 5. These are Roman numerals. They always write them in Roman, but what it is 1, 4, 5. And all this means is that the first chord you're going to find on the first note of the scale, the second you're going to find on the fourth note of the scale, and the fifth you're going to find in the fifth note of the scale. Okay? So, if we are in the key of C, we're using the C scale, the first is easy. The first is going to be C. And if you remember in our previous lecture where we discussed the major triad, C major triad is going to be C, E, G, okay? If this sounds a little crazy, just refer back to the last lecture. I'll explain how I got to that. Now, the fourth note in the C scale, C, D, E, F, is going to be F. So the major triad of F, using this formula, F, A, C, 1, 3, and 5. And I'll show you that on the harp, okay? And the fifth note of the scale is G. Now G, and I'm going to show you how I got to this on the harp, okay? G, A, B, C, D. So 1, 3, 5. Now let me show you on the harp how we got to this point. So, if you look, the first chord in the progression is going to be, we're going to start in middle C. We're going to do the 1, 3, 5 of the C scale, okay? So C, E, G. In our previous lecture, we went into depth with how we found this, okay? That's going to be C, E, G. That's going to be our first chord. Now number 4, let me just show you again, because I know it's a lot of information at first. 1, 4. To find that 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go 4 notes up in that scale. So C, D, E, F. So it's going to be F. Now, when you are using this chord progression and you go to the 4th note, you're going to easily be able to create a major triad out of this note. Okay? Because it's 1, 3, 5 are going to be within the major scale of this note. I know that sounds a little confusing, but I'm going to explain what I mean. If you go to the 4th note of the C scale and find F, to find the major triad, the major chord, start at that F, and we're going to use the same formula we used in the last lecture, 1, 3, 5. So you're going to start with F, that's 1. Now you're going to go and find 3. To find 3, you're going to go 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be this note right here. That's going to be an A, okay? And then to find the 5th, you're going to go 3, up 1 is 4, up 1 is 5. So that chord is going to be F, A, C. Okay? Now, that is the 4th, and again, like I said, you might want to watch this video several times until you really understand like how coming up with this seems complicated at first, like music theory usually does. Most people think it is kind of a complicated thing, but it's really not once you sort of get the hang of it and practice. The 5th, 1, 4, 5, how we're going to find that is how we found G is it's the 5th note up from the 1st note of the scale. So the 1st note's C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how we know it's G. Okay? Now to find the G chord, we are going to play the 1st note. Now we're going to go up 1, 2, 3. That's going to be 3. And if you see on the harp, that's going to be a B. It's 1 below C. And then 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be 1 above C. That's going to be a D. So it's going to be B, G, B, D. Okay? So, first chord, C. The 4th, F, is, when you see your chord progression, C, F, G. That is what you're looking at. Now, the reason I picked this chord progression is because it is kind of, I think it's the most basic chord progression ever. There is so much music theory out there. There's so many different chords, different chord progressions, but I believe it's something like 85% of, again, I'm not sure of the exact number, but a very large percentage of like pop music, like some of the what's considered like the sort of best pop songs in the world are all, they're all composed of these three chords, C, F, and G. So that's why I'm sort of spending the time in this lecture to just go over this chord, because you could start there and you could immediately sort of write, if it's something that you're interested, you could write your own music immediately without knowing anything about the harp, really. You could just memorize those three chords, which is just, if you're in the key of C, F, and G, you could immediately write your own music. So that's kind of why I wanted to show you those chords, and also how I got to them. And if chords are something that interests you, then I would go ahead and just learn more and more about them. You know, if it's something, because it's fun, really. It's a lot of work. You have to put time and energy into it, but if it's something that interests you, you can go as far as you want with it. So that is my intro to chords, and this is our 1, 4, 5 chord progression. So even if you're just starting out with a harp, I encourage kind of playing around with these chords and seeing what you can do with them. All right, see you next time.